Oh, yeah. Is it Tuesday already? The final Tuesday before we have The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is it. The reviews are in. It has a 64 on Rotten Tomatoes as of right now. We will read the good reviews, the bad reviews, and all the reviews in between. Of course, no spoilers here today. But the first ever Star Wars movie in 6.5 years is here in just 2 days. Craziness. And if that's not enough, we even have Ahsoka Season 2 leaks to talk about. Anakin Skywalker popping up all over the timeline. We got a lot to get into and not a lot of time. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? It's been a while. How we doing, chat? It feels like a lifetime ago since I've last gone live, although it was only a week ago. But in this time of crazy news for Star Wars with a movie coming out in just 2 more days, it really has felt like a long, long time. But since I last saw you guys, I did go to Disney World. We'll talk about that. I got some pictures for you as well. And we got some crazy Mando teaser trailers, 30-second TV spots, along with a ton of reviews for the movie. The premiere for a lot of people was last Thursday night. So a lot of people did get to see the movie and gave their reviews. We got a lot to do today. We even got a giveaway today. We're doing something pretty crazy here today, chat. Burger King, Burger King, like one of the biggest fast food restaurant chains in the world. Burger King has reached out to me to do a giveaway for the best card. So this awesome box, you open it up and inside is this, best card gift card to Burger King. And it says "Have It the Way" on the back, and it's actual metal. We're giving that away today, so we'll do that later on in the live stream. But we got a pretty crazy giveaway. You don't even have to be a member to enter the giveaway today. We will actually put the credits that we have in the chat to use today, finally. So we'll do that later on too. A crazy stream today. We only have 2 more streams until The Mandalorian and Grogu comes out, but we will get on that later. But before we do any of it, let's start the stream the only way we know how, by saying hi to everybody in the chat. Shall we? And while I do so, just, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for The Mandalorian and Grogu movie? The first ever Star Wars movie in 6.5 years. The first Star Wars movie since I started this channel comes out in 2 days. So tell me in the chat. Kyler, how we doing? Mall Shadow, how we doing? Holly in the house. Brandon Baker, what is up? Michael, how we doing? Nathan in the building. Dave, what is up? Drewby McCool's with us as per usual. April, what is up? Roro, Star Wars, how we doing? Mojo Jojo, how we doing? Great name. Jin Urso in the building. Darth Plagueis lives, what is up? RG, how we doing? John Groom, what is up? Tyler, how we doing? Aaron in the building. Okay, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Cole Rita, what's up? Let's give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so we're going to watch a lot of trailers for The Mandalorian and Grogu today. New trailers. Read all the reviews and all that great stuff, but you guys know me. Ahsoka Season 2 is like all the way up there, way ahead of everything else. And we got some Ahsoka Season 2 leaks. Because last we spoke, there was a Disney event where we actually got to see, or people in attendance got to see a Ahsoka Season 2 trailer, and it was not released publicly, but we do have the description now, and Anakin Skywalker is all over it. But we'll talk about that. So we got a lot to talk about today. We got a super chat actually really early on. 2 super chats! I like the sound of that. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $5 hollow. Says, we missed you, Mike. Well, I appreciate that. I missed you guys too. So hyped for this movie. Never trust the critics. Well, some of the critics are actually very high on this movie. We'll read all of them. We'll read the good, the bad, and the ugly. But 10 out of 10 hype. Love that. And Swifty with a very generous $10 hollow says, I got a few questions about Ahsoka Season 2. Are you able to tell me how much Balin we're going to get? And does Balin and Shin have a lot of scenes in this second season? Also, will Sabine and Shin share scenes? Thank you very much. That type of, specificity, I don't know. I don't know how many scenes that those characters will get. I will tell you that we're going to get a lot of Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. That's for damn sure. Will Shin and Sabine get a rematch again? Yes, absolutely. And they recasted Baylan Skoll for a reason. We'll put it that way. They could have written the character out off screen and done a million different things, but they recasted the character after Ray Stevenson tragically passed away. So, yeah, you're going to get a lot of Baylan Skoll. But let's start with The Mandalorian and Grogu. Let's start with the movie that comes out in just 2 days, shall we? Okay, but I appreciate the super chats. I really, really do. The big thing is this. It was a 64. The thumbnail does not lie. It was a 64, but it is now a 61 because it was a 64 with only 60 reviews. Now it's a 61 with 89 critic reviews. So right now, The Mandalorian and Grogu movie sits at a 61 on Rotten Tomatoes, making it the, I believe, 5th lowest. So there's 12 Star Wars movies, I believe. Yeah, you got the 9 saga movies, the 2 spin-offs, and the Clone Wars movie. There's 12 Star Wars movies. Of those 12, it is 5th to the last. So it's right in the middle. It's right in the middle of all these critic reviews. Critic, not audience, critic reviews. It's above the Clone Wars movie. It's above Rise of Skywalker. It's above The Phantom Menace. And it's above Attack of the Clones. So it's above 2 of the 3 prequel trilogy movies right now. Again, this could go up. This could go down. There's only 89 reviews so far. However, what do we think of this score? Is this sound the alarms? This is the end of the world? Or is this just, what are you going to do? Yes, critic reviews. Critic review. How many of those critics are actually Star Wars fans? We don't know. We're going to read all these reviews, or not all of them, but we're going to read a lot of these reviews in a minute. We'll get to that in a second. But 61% right now. Is this cause for alarm? Is this end of the world scenario? What do we think? What do we think? What do we think? I'd rather not have Star Wars fans reviewing it. True. That's also a very biased opinion as well. But as a Star Wars fan, I'd like to hear what Star Wars fans think about it too. Here's the thing. None of us in the chat, to my knowledge, have seen this movie. So it's very hard for us, make an opinion on how good this movie's going to be. The only thing we have today, the only thing that we can go off of is people who have seen the film. And those people are the critics, the influencers, the people who got early access to this film. So right now, as of Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, the only thing that we have to go off of is other people's reviews. And we'll break them down, of course. We'll talk about them. We'll go through all of it. But this is all we have today. So until we see the movies ourselves and make our own judgment, this is all we got. Now, I got a bunch of different reviews, positive and negative, I want to get to, but 61% on Rotten Tomatoes. What do we think? Is this bad news, good news? Where are we at with this? Actually, while you do, though, tell me that in the chat. Let me actually put up a poll here. Let's put up a poll. All right, let's do this. If you have not smashed a freaking like in this stream, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Are you excited for, or let's put it differently. Are you, are you going to see The Mandalorian and Grogu? Just out of curiosity. Mandalorian and Grogu movie. First option is going to be yes. Multiple times. Second option is going to be like, yeah. For sure. Third option is going to be maybe. Depends on how good it is. And your fourth option is going to be no. Just no. Those are your 4 options. Are you going to see the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? I already got my tickets for Thursday. If you guys don't know, we have an in-person watch party. If you are in or around the Boston area on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Assembly Row in Somerville, Massachusetts. I got still some tickets left, so hit me up if you want to come. We got a bunch of people coming. We got Ron from Star Wars Jedi Chat coming up. We got a bunch of other people coming. It's going to be a fun time. In-person watch party, 7:30 Thursday night. IMAX, of course. So I already got my tickets. I'm planning on going on Friday as well. And if the movie's really great, I'm probably going to go on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the rest of time. But we'll see about that. Having said that, do you have your tickets? Are you planning on going? All that great stuff. Tell me in the chat. Oh, we got another super chat. Eternal Sith with a very generous $5 holla says, forget the critics. Will this movie make money? That's what we have to be worried about. Will not be good for Star Wars if it underperforms. You make a very great point. Now, I've always been of the mind that this movie will make well over $1 billion. As you see the hype and excitement for this movie grow online, my hopes and dreams continue to be, hopefully met. If this movie, again, $1 billion does not mean, well, $1 billion does not mean the movie's good, but $1 billion does not mean that movie has to make $1 billion to be successful. Absolutely not. Solo, a Star Wars story, lost money, that's not successful. The movie could make $700 million and still be a success, or quote unquote a success. But I agree with you. If this movie underperforms, if this movie bombs in the box office, that's not just bad news for Star Wars fans, that's bad news for all future Star Wars movies. Starfighter next year, it is already filmed, so it will be coming out, but that's bad news for that movie. It's bad news for a possible Simon Kinberg trilogy, a Dawn of the Jedi movie, a possible Mando trilogy with Dave Filoni's movie. It's bad news. It's bad news all around. So hopefully, as Eternal Sith says, this movie does not, quote unquote, underperform. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay. No way, Kyler. That stinks. I'm seeing it on Thursday because it's the only day that I can go. I have to avoid spoilers for 5 days. That stinks. They have more riding on Starfighter than Mandalorian and Grogu. Well, as of this moment, as of today, there's a lot more riding on the Mandalorian and Grogu. I do agree with you because Starfighter's brand new characters, that there's a lot more riding on that sort of in the long run. But as of right now, the Mandalorian and Grogu is first to come, and it's gotta be good. It's got to be good. Okay, let's start with some reviews here. Let's start with some... Actually, you know what? Let's start with the trailers first. By the way, if you don't know, already right now on Fortnite, you can go watch the first 10 minutes of the movie. Pretty crazy. Mike, what's your definition of success? Well, again, I'd say probably 600 million, 700 million would be successful, just based off of the budget for this movie, which is below 200 million. Usually you have to make double that to make your money back and to actually be a profitable movie. So it has to make anywhere from 400 million to 500 million to be successful from a studio perspective. For me, you have to get at least to 600 million around that last year Fantastic Four, Superman sort of level of last summer's blockbuster movies from 2025. If it surpasses that into 700 million, 800 million, 900, $1 billion, then I mean the success just goes through the roof. And you're talking about possibly getting up into the billions and beyond. That would be fantastic. As a Star Wars fan, that's exactly what we want, or what I want, is for this movie to be extremely successful. I want it to be really good too, but people going to see Star Wars in the movies. So for me, success for this film is anywhere from 600 million beyond. For the studio, it's probably 500 million and beyond. And as my prediction has always been, $1 billion would be fantastic. Yeah. Cooper Franklin with a very generous $2 holla says, I think Starfighter will be a top 5 Star Wars movie. That's some pretty high praise. I would love for that to be the case. I guess only time will tell. Only time will tell. Here's my thing with The Mandalorian and Grogu too. As we look at this number and we get extremely concerned, 61%, oh my God, the sky is falling. Never did it cross my mind that The Mandalorian and Grogu movie would be the best Star Wars movie of all time. It just never has. Like, it's not going to be better than Empire Strikes Back. It's not going to be better than Revenge of the Sith. But it's sort of the question of, will it be better than what's below that? Personally, for me, my top 3 Star Wars movies are, in order, Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, and Rogue One. I don't think it will catch Rogue One. However, it is in the same world as Rogue One, as it is a spin-off standalone film. As of right now, it's standalone, but it's a spin-off movie. So if it can get anywhere close to those three, even in the conversation, we'd be in a great spot. But it needs to be in that next tier below that. It needs to be in the conversation of a oh my God, if it's in the conversation of A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, we're in a great spot. But even in the conversation of a Phantom Menace, which some fans really, really hate, but some fans really, really love, it needs to be in that conversation of the middle ground of Star Wars films. Because if you're in the conversation of sort of what most people agree on are the worsts, like a Clone Wars movie or a Rise of Skywalker, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. But having said that, I do not think we're going to go out there on Thursday and watch the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be bad. Star Wars is a world where we have a shit ton of really good movies. And just because it's going to be in the middle of that does not make it a bad film. All right, let's read some good and bad reviews. I want to go to the longer reviews first, just sort of we got a couple really long reviews, and then we'll get to the shorter little snippet reviews that they have on Rotten Tomatoes. So let's start here with Star Wars Newsnet. The Mandalorian and Grogu, spoiler-free. This is all spoiler-free review for this film. This is the way. 7 years after the Star Wars last graced the big screen, a period marked by events that permanently altered human history, Star Wars movies, that is, audiences and fans of the saga can finally celebrate. We are getting to sit in a dark movie theater once again and watch our favorite characters the way they were meant to be seen. The Mandalorian and Grogu, let me rewind. The Mandalorian, the show, the 3 seasons of a television show that we've seen before. They are some of the greatest Star Wars content we've ever received. I feel like most Star Wars fans agree that Season 2 is the best, but people really love Season 1. I personally really love Season 3, and I know a lot of people think that Season 3 is underrated as well. But just as an overall series, as an overall 3-season show, it is some of the best Star Wars we've ever had. For some people, it's their return to the Star Wars universe because they were pulled away for many different reasons, maybe the sequel trilogy, maybe something else. But because of The Mandalorian, they were brought back to Star Wars. Din Djarin and Grogu have become fan-favorite characters, along with the supporting cast of Greef Karga and Cara Dune and Moff Gideon and Bo-Katan and Ahsoka Tano and Luke Skywalker. The list goes on. Boba Fett. But this was their most popular show on Disney Plus by far. By far. So to get these characters to come over to the big screen is just great news in and of itself. And as I sit there and rewatch The Mandalorian as I get prepared for this movie, I sit there going, I want to watch this on the big screen. Seeing your favorite characters the way they were supposed to be seen on the biggest screen possible. And let's face it, the world is a vastly different place than it was in 2019 when The Rise of Skywalker hit theaters just 3 months before a massive lockdown that confined us to our homes and forced us to rethink everything that we had achieved up until this point. Indeed. Streaming services reached their absolute peak, and through their productions, we watched the evolution of numerous Star Wars projects on the small screen, some good, some bad, and some still trying to find their footing. However, the high point was reached right at the starting gate when The Mandalorian completely redefined the look and feel of Star Wars, sort of going back to the original trilogy feel, but completely redefining what a Star Wars story being told in live action could be. Because up until that point, the only live action projects were movies, and they were all very, very important movies with legacy characters attached, with Skywalker saga all over the place. Even the spin-offs had Vader and Han Solo as the main character. So up until The Mandalorian, where they focused on side characters, where the real emphasis was on the ground level of Star Wars. And it paved the way. Andor doesn't exist without The Mandalorian. Ahsoka doesn't exist without The Mandalorian. It paved the way and it showed the way. Meanwhile, his companion, Baby Yoda, revealed a colossal cultural craving for some fresh plastering his green face everywhere, imaginable, including the hearts and minds of fans and their young children. Baby Yoda, Grogu, has long since been known as Grogu. And the highly anticipated return of Star Wars to the silver screen comes thanks to these two characters, who also give the film its title, The Mandalorian and Grogu. This review is entirely spoiler-free. Here we go. If you are reading this review, you are likely already familiar, at least in part, with the overall narrative framework dynamically built over 3 seasons of the streaming hit Mandalorian. A fearless bounty hunter, companioned by his adopted green little companion, embark on new adventures, this time working alongside the New Republic as it rises from the ashes. By the way, let's not forget Grand Admiral Thrawn is, on Dathomir now with a whole army of Night Sisters as the heir to the Empire. Yeah. The Mandalorian and Grogu takes place immediately after the end of Season 3. Interesting. So no time has passed, or I'm sure some time has passed, but immediately after. Where we left Mando, played by Pedro Pascal, and Grogu briefly enjoying their downtime at their new home on Navarro. However, the lengthy one-shot opening sequence quickly throws audiences right back into the action. I sort of compare this to an Indiana Jones movie, where the Indiana Jones movies open at the end of Indy's last mission, and then you get thrown into the big mission. That's what this movie is, exactly to the T. You're opening with the sort of last big battle of their final mission, and then you're getting the one mission to change the galaxy as the plot of the movie. And it introduces the characters to fans who've never seen them before. It does its job. Okay. It happens so abruptly that the character's vacation and the audience's popcorn is instantly forgotten, and the adrenaline spikes, and the real story kicks off. The introduction of the new characters, Colonel Ward, played by Sigourney Weaver, serves as an inciting incident that drives the plot. Okay. As a representative, of the New Republic, she dispatches the Mandalorian and Grogu on a mission to track down Imperial loyalists who have integrated themselves into the criminal underworld engulfing the galaxy. So we got a lot of this in the Mandalorian itself with Moff Gideon. We got a lot of it in the Book of Boba Fett as well, and we're even getting sort of teases to Skeleton Crew. Because you're hearing about pirates who are sort of, I guess, attacking New Republic shipments, attacking Imperial Remnant shipments, and that's all what we sort of got to see in Skeleton Crew. I don't think we'll see Jude Law in this movie. I don't think we'll see Wim or Neil or Fern or KB, but there'll be the connections there for sure. You'll get reference to pirates and all that great stuff. She dispatches the Mandalorian and Grogu on a mission to track down Imperial loyalists. Just read that. The path of finding them, however, runs directly through the twin Hutts, the ones we saw in the Book of Boba Fett. The Hutts set a condition. Din Djarin must track down and return their long-lost relative, Jabba the Hutt's son, Rata. So none of this is anything new. We've known all this going in to the film. And there is Stinky himself. I still think that Stinky's going to be a way bigger role in this film than anybody could possibly imagine. Like, he's not just going to be a fight sequence in this gladiator ring. He's going to be a pretty main character for a big chunk of the film. Okay, continuing. For fans of the Clone Wars, Rata is a familiar face. The search for him was the central plot of the animated Star Wars The Clone Wars movie, which launched the television series of that same name. Rata's habit of getting lost, or at least kidnapped, is the exact moment the audiences jump into hyperspace, embarking on a breathless adventure that spends the next 2 hours reminding us why Star Wars is such a beloved franchise. And that's what you like to hear. This movie is 2 hours and 12 minutes, by the way. We do have a runtime, 2 hours and 12 minutes. So it shows you exactly why Star Wars is so great, why everybody loves it. It's a fun action adventure for new fans, old fans, and everybody alike. Inevitably, the first major critique many might level at Jon Favreau's production is that it can feel like a very long episode playing on the giant screen. So what they're saying here is this could feel like a very long episode of The Mandalorian. Now, I've been seeing this critique a lot, and we're gonna see it a bunch as we go along here. Since when was an extra long episode of the best, arguably the best, the most popular, we'll put it that way, the most popular Disney Plus show a bad thing? Since when has one of the greatest Star Wars shows ever getting an extended episode into a movie of that same story? How is that being used as a bad thing? How is that being used to take this movie down a notch? Isn't that what we wanted? More of the peak we got in the show? Maybe I'm crazy. But I wanted to see Din and Grogu doing what they did in the peak 3 seasons I watched on television in an extended movie theatrical release in one big mission to save the galaxy, to change the galaxy, but continuing the greatness that I saw on television. I don't know how that's being spun into a bad thing for this movie. I don't get it. I don't get it in the slightest. We wanted more of what these two characters were, and we're getting an extended version of that on the big screen with better effects and better storytelling. Is that not exactly what we wanted? I'm confused. You're going to see it on all the bad reviews, or not all of them, but on most of the bad reviews, the complaint is it feels like an extended version of the show. That's what it is. Is it not called The Mandalorian and Grogu? Are we stupid? I don't get it. I just don't get it. But continuing. It can feel like a very long episode being played on a giant screen. However, this was particularly unavoidable as the film essentially replaces the hypothetical 4th season, continuing characters' arcs established over the previous 3 seasons, or at least a portion of them. So it will be, as we assumed, a continuation of those 3 seasons. Shocker. That's what we signed up for here. This is actually the cinematic milestone return we've been waiting years for. That puts a smile on my face. You know, that makes me happy. Ever since the days when pandemic, quote unquote, was just a term found in sci-fi novels and movies, if you have moved past the episodic feel, you will likely have no trouble diving right in. And trust me, it is absolutely worth it. Love that. There is so much to love here. We got a nod to Martin Scorsese, who seemingly translated his passion for fine dining into an alien format. We also see Nal Hutta in live action for the very first time, featuring plenty of huts, so many huts. We have seen one of the official clips does show a ton of huts in it, I forget. But an appearance of Embo. Oh, yes, you know him from the trailer, Embo. Now, one of the trailers we're about to watch today has a fight scene between Embo and Din Djarin. And I think you're going to get 2 fight scenes between Embo and Din Djarin. And I know for many Star Wars fans, they're going to be like, who? They're going to be the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, like, who? Who is Embo? But to Clone Wars fans, I mean, same with Rada the Hutt, of course, but with Clone Wars fans, like The Mandalorian has done since day one, bringing in R5, bringing in characters like Queel, who's an Ugnaught, who are sort of side characters. They're bringing those characters to the forefront, making them main characters and bringing them to live action, like Cad Bane in the Book of Boba Fett, like Ahsoka Tano into live action, like Bo-Katan into live action. Embo is just the next guy up on that list. And he's one of the coolest bounty hunters from Clone Wars, from animation. And now you're going to get to see him go toe-to-toe with Din Djarin, not once, but twice in this movie. So Embo, yes. A game of Dedrick which is the hollow chests on the Millennium Falcon. And yes, that's going to be the gladiator fight scene. And massive creatures like the Mattellian, sir, Sarvrip. Oh no, I gotta pronounce all these things. Let's skip through that. All these great monsters that were Dedrick pieces that we do see in the trailers. Continuing. Spectacular cinematography. Great to hear that. Massive battle sequences. The thrilling dogfight between starfighters complete the spectacle, making The Mandalorian and Grogu one of the first true blockbusters of summer of 2026. So here's the hollow chest piece, and here it is in live action. So massive battle sequences, awesome. I mean, Mandalorian has never shied away from great action sequences, even in the show. So the movie, it's going to be even better. Thrilling dogfights. One of the leaks that we got for this film is that Trapper Wolf, Dave Filoni's character, will have one of the coolest dogfights with Lord Janu. And that leak still doesn't really make much sense to me because Lord Janu is an Imperial warlord, and I don't really see him hopping in a TIE fighter by himself. Maybe. I guess Moff Gideon did. Yeah, true. I guess Moff Gideon did in The Mandalorian. But either way, really cool dogfights we're going to see in this as well. My weird thing is with this movie, a lot of people have seen it now. Influencers, critics, they've all seen it. And unless they all signed these crazy NDAs to not spoil anything, I get a feeling that, yes, there'll be, your Embos. There'll be maybe a Bo-Katan or something like that. Like a lower level, not that surprising cameo. But unless these people are being, silenced, absolutely silenced, then I don't think we're getting like a Luke Skywalker. As much as Sigourney Weaver teased it last week, as much as Sigourney Weaver was like, okay, guys, there's something big happening here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me pull this up really quickly. Yeah, listen to this interview.
The world has to know who are your favorite Star Wars characters and why.
Well, mine is Han Solo, and I don't have to say why.
And mine, I'm afraid, is Chewbacca. I found him
We're pals.
a figure of great mystery. And I'm sorry that he wasn't in our movie, but we have so many other amazing characters in this movie, some of whom we haven't seen in a Star Wars movie for a long time. And I think everyone's going to be really...
So, just characters we haven't seen in a Star Wars movie in a long time. I don't think we're going to get to see Luke Skywalker at this point. Like, unless we are getting bamboozled here, and all the influencers, all the critics who saw the movie are like, Lucasfilm came up to each individual one and said, if you say something, we will find you. They were like Liam Neeson in the Taken movies. They were like, we will find you. Unless that's the case, I don't see there being a massive cameo like Luke Skywalker, Leia, or Han, even though Sigourney is talking crazy like this, even though she's saying some ridiculous stuff. A cameo of like Bo-Katan or something, that's not that crazy. She was a main character in season 3. You would expect her to be in this movie, honestly. Zeb, we already know, is in this film. Embo, Rada, the Twin Hutts. Like, we know that all those characters are already going to be in here. I still think that there's going to be a big twist to come. I still think there's going to be maybe a big cameo or a reference to Grand Admiral Thrawn or something along those lines that is geared towards the bigger story happening in the universe. But it doesn't seem like it'll be something as big as Luke Skywalker. As much as I'd love to say that Sigourney Weaver just teased an OT character, I can't imagine that all those people who have seen the movie are all keeping their mouths shut. Maybe they are. But it just seems unlikely. Boba Fett too. Yeah, Boba Fett could be in there, but again, he's a character who is a main character in season 2 of Mando, and Din and him have a pretty long history in Book of Boba Fett. It wouldn't be that shocking to see him in the movie. And Trapper Wolf. Yeah, no, Trapper Wolf is not like, it wouldn't be fans going, oh my God, Trapper Wolf's in this movie. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I don't think you're going to, and that's not to say that this movie needs a huge cameo. Yes, Mando Season 2 is full of them, from Bo-Katan to Ahsoka to Luke Skywalker to Boba Fett. But Season 1 of Mando is great. Season 3 of Mando is great. And they don't have any cameos. Andor is great. It doesn't have any cameos. It's not that a cameo, or fan service, if you will, it's not that that's needed to make the movie great. I'm just saying, don't get your hopes up to see a character like that. Unless they are somehow keeping all these people quiet at the same time. Just say. Okay. So these thrilling dogfights could be Trapper Wolf versus Lord Janu, as the leaks suggest, but only time will tell. All I know is action-packed. It seems to be the name of the game with this movie. Action-packed. And a lot of aliens. That's what I've been hearing over and over. A lot of aliens. But I mentioned that last week. Our main characters are an alien and a guy with his mask on. Then you have Zebrelius, alien. Hutts, aliens. The Anzellans, aliens. These guys, the hollow chess pieces, aliens. There's a ton of puppets and just aliens in this movie. More so than any other movie in Star Wars. Because even with the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, you had Luke, Leia, Han, Lando. You had Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme, Mace Windu, like all of them. In the sequel trilogy, you had Poe Dameron, Finn, Rey, Kylo Ren, all humans. This movie, it's Sigourney Weaver, Colonel Ward. And yes, Din Djarin, but again, he's under a mask the whole time. Not the whole time, but most of the time. Everybody else in this movie seems to be an alien at this point. So a lot of aliens and a lot of action. But the spectacle isn't the only thing that matters. Yes, Star Wars has always been a massive visual phenomenon, but the deeper emotional and family elements are what I find myself looking for in cinema ever since becoming a parent, and I absolutely found them here. Oh yeah, I can't even imagine. Being a parent watching The Mandalorian and Grogu must be a whole different world. Will Din Djarin die? Riley, you're asking the questions I can't answer. Will he die? We're going to watch 2 more trailers today in a second that certainly point to him dying yet again. So every single trailer at this point is like, yeah, Din Djarin's going to die. Din Djarin's going to die. It's making me think he's not going to die at this point, but here we are. The Mandalorian and Grogu isn't just a movie about a fearless warrior, a Force user, and their battles with the villains of the week. It is a film about the most vital human relationship, that between the father and a son. On the one hand, we have now iconic bonds between Din Djarin and Grogu, which, might end with Din Djarin dying. Their pure father-son dynamic showcases incredible on-screen chemistry during the action, but also reflects what that bond should be in our own reality. On the other hand, we have Rada, brilliantly voiced by Jeremy Allen White. Again, still think he has a way bigger role in this movie, who has turned into a metaphorical monster because of everything he has endured growing up as the son of Jabba the Hutt. Jon Favreau fearlessly taps into those emotional dynamics, father and son duo right there with Rada and Jabba, crafting a story that won't leave you indifferent. Okay. In fact, don't be surprised if your eyes well up in a few scenes. I promise you they will. Interesting. So very, very action-packed. That's all we've been hearing, but this is sort of the first time I've been seeing a very emotional side of this film. While much could be said about the visuals and the story, the soundtrack deserves special recognition. Once again, composer Ludwig Göransson, the music expands upon the familiar main theme and with an epic new arrangement, some of which evokes the late-night energy of 90s rave culture. Interesting. Göransson has pushed his compositional skills even further, delivering a 21-track mix with Shikari standing out as my personal favorite. Interesting. I mean, there's no denying that, the Mandalorian theme is one of the best we got. In a world where John Williams, the GOAT himself, John Williams, composed all the movies for Star Wars, well, all the main saga movies. In a world where that guy has to be followed up, and Ludwig took on the, impossible task of making a theme song for The Mandalorian and made such an iconic one, and now that's being translated to the movies. Ludwig's already won like 3 Academy Awards, and I don't even know how old is he. How old is Ludwig Göransson? Very young, we'll put it that way. Very, very young. Yeah, so we're in good hands on that. And as you guys know, I love me some Star Wars music, but I digress. I could write pages more about The Mandalorian and Grogu. I could nitpick and find flaws that critics might zero in on for one reason or another, but I won't because there's no need to. This is Star Wars in its purest form. God love that. The enjoyment is far greater when we simply let our guards down and look for the same spark that ignited our love for the fantastic universe decades ago. Let's not forget this is Star Wars here. Let's not forget why George Lucas created Star Wars in the first place. Yes, it's geared towards 13-year-olds, the teenagers of us all, while giving you the life lessons that you all want in a fun action adventure with great stories and great characters and all that great stuff. This is not, gonna win the Academy Award for Movie of the Year, as no Star Wars movie ever will. But this is what we're looking for. Star Wars in its purest form. The enjoyment is far greater when you simply just let your guard down and enjoy it like it's a what's the first 2 words of the title? A Star Wars movie. Like it's a Star Wars movie, and not dissecting every frame because you could watch A New Hope and be like, oh my God, that stormtrooper hit his head on the door. That's so stupid. This movie sucks. You see that background? It's painted. It doesn't even look real. This movie sucks. You could live that way and hate your life and just hate everything. But what's the point in that? What's the point in that? Okay. This is got me excited the most. This is Star Wars in its purest form. Go watch it in theaters, grab some popcorn, enjoy the ride. All right. So that's our first long review. Now, I want to show a trailer in between so we're just not reading reviews all left and right and center. So let's watch this trailer. This is the one where, let's watch this one instead. This is the one where they're teasing Din Djarin dying yet again. But let's watch this. Turn that up to 11. Grogu meditating on a log. Still don't know what this is about. You're going to get a lot more character development for Grogu in this movie. I know Din Djarin has gotten pretty much all the character development through the 3 seasons of the show. The movie is going to be about Grogu. Well, Din too, of course, but mostly Grogu. Because Grogu, from episode 1 of season 1 till now, all his character development has just been go train with Luke Skywalker and become more powerful with the Force. Everything else is the exact same. He's a cute baby who wields the Force and makes you laugh. That's not a bad thing, but there hasn't really been any character development for this little creature. For Din Djarin, it's very different. He's gone from hating droids to loving them. He's gone from being a lone ranger type to actually taking on a child, adopting a child. He's gone from, well, I guess, never taking his helmet off to taking it off, and then because of the child, and then having to, deal with that. Either way, Din Djarin has gone through a crazy amount of character development through 3 seasons, and Grogu has not. From what these reviews are saying, we're going to get a lot more Grogu development than anything else. But let's watch this.
The child could change the fate of the galaxy.
Is he ready?
He will be.
When under siege, a new hero
Good shot, baby.
will rise.
The Mandalorian will die tomorrow.
Go, now. I'll hold them off.
Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu, rated PG-13.
Okay. So, a few things. One, the hand-to-hand combat of The Mandalorian, the show, not the movie, the show, of the show, it doesn't get enough credit. The choreography, I should say, for the Mandalorian show in and of itself does not get enough credit. Pedro Pascal under the mask, whether it's Pedro Pascal or Lateef Crowder, or Brendan Wayne. Whoever's under the mask, the choreography is incredible, and the action sequences, the hand-to-hand fights, the all that stuff is incredible in the show. You get a glimpse of it in here with Embo versus Din Djarin. It's going to go up a whole nother level for this movie, which is just awesome. But yes, the Mandalorian will die tomorrow. They're really pushing Grogu as the main figure of this movie, where this child is going to save the galaxy.
The child could change the fate of the galaxy.
Let's not forget.
Is he ready?
Grogu is going to live for like the next 900 years, 800 years. He's going to be the future of most Star Wars stories from now until beyond the sequel trilogy. So they're hyping this up like, yes, it's a mission that can change the galaxy. This is a very important Star Wars story. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. This is the remnant of the Empire. This is the fallout of the original trilogy. This is all that. There's no doubt about that. But Grogu's importance in this story is far greater than we are thinking. He's not just the blood for Palpatine's Project Necromancer. He could be the savior of the entire galaxy. He's got a higher midichlorian count than pretty much anybody. Up there with Luke and Yoda. And Anakin, I'm sure. But a child who could change the fate of the galaxy.
The child could change the fate of the galaxy.
Is he ready?
He will be.
When under siege, a new hero
Good shot, baby.
will rise.
The Mandalorian will die tomorrow. Go.
That's our boy Lord Janu right there, saying that the Mandalorian will die tomorrow. I think that's going to be the gladiator fight. I don't think Din Djarin will die there, but he could die by the end of the movie.
Tomorrow. Go now. I'll hold them all.
Again, I know this happens every single time a movie comes out. I know this happens every time a show comes out too, that people get early access to the episodes and it doesn't get leaked out what happens, the crazy stuff, the crazy reveals, the character cameos, the deaths, the character deaths. They don't get leaked out. But it seems just a little crazy to think that all these people now have seen the movie. At least 90 critics and who knows how many influencers have seen this movie. And if there's a big twist, if there's a big cameo, if there's a big death, if Din Djarin dies in this film, it's insane to think that none of those people, probably 100 or 200 or maybe even more people who have seen this movie, have not said a word. Like not one out of those hundreds of people have said a single word about it. Seems pretty crazy. So it's making me think maybe Din Djarin won't die. Maybe Din Djarin won't die. We got a group of 20 of us going on Friday. Well, we got a group of 20 going on Thursday night too. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. All right, here's the Embo versus Din Djarin. Din Djarin holding two of these massive swords, which is awesome. Or, yeah, giant swords. We know Embo's got the two sort of pickaxe-looking things. And this is, I think, going to be, again, the second fight between Embo and Din Djarin. The first one being on Navarro. And the first one being, I think, Din Djarin is going to lose. And then we'll get to the one with, this looks to be on Nal Hutta, in the caves outside the Twin Huts, whatever. The trailers are making us think the big final battle is on Nal Hutta. And it could end with the Twin Huts dying. And that could be the case. That could be exactly what's happening. But this could be Act 2, for all we know. This could be Act 2. Wait, Thursday night? I thought it was releasing on Friday. Yeah, so whenever movies come out on a Friday, at least nowadays, there's sort of like the night before is when the movie really comes out. So Thursday night, there's showings. And that's when the in-person watch party is. Thursday night. So technically it comes out the 21st. But, yeah. Indeed. But Embo versus Din Djarin.
Hold them off.
Going to be pretty awesome. I don't think they're going to kill off Embo in his first live-action appearance. At least I hope not. Granted, Embo's probably pretty old at this point. He was a bounty hunter in his prime, I assume his prime, during the Clone Wars, so he's sort of like Cad Bane, where he's a lot older now, because that was 30 years ago, give or take. 25, 30 years ago. So he's probably a lot older now. I don't know. What do we think, Chet? Are we we're gonna see the demise of Embo? They did it for Cad Bane. True. Cad Bane does make his live-action appearance and then die an episode later. So maybe they do the same with Embo. Possibly. He is probably really old. I don't know how long his species is going to last or how old he gets. But what do we think? Let me actually put this up in a poll. Never really thought of that. Embo dying. Let's put this up in a poll. By the way, let's see where this poll ended at. 39% of you guys said yes, for sure. I'm going to go see The Mandalorian and Grogu. 38% said yes multiple times. 16% said no. Wow, that's very high. And 7% said maybe. So you're looking at quick math, around 84-ish percent saying yes and or multiple times. Okay. Let's do this. Do you think Embo will die in this movie? In his first ever live action appearance, do you think it'll be his last? What do we think? What do we think? Okay. And while you do so, let's get to our next long review here. Let's do... Okay, I'm going to just read the bottom half of this. Okay, so this is the holofiles.com review for The Mandalorian and Grogu. A lot of this stuff is just, again, describing the movie itself. So I'm going to scroll down to sort of their final description here. Verdict, 7.5 out of 10. So that's what they give the movie. The Mandalorian and Grogu makes the 7-year wait for for a new Star Wars movie worthwhile. Unabashedly and quintessentially Star Wars in nearly every way. Gotta love that. Jon Favreau's film checks virtually every box one could want from a Star Wars film, and in doing so, proves that a Star Wars movie can entertain and even thrive without lightsabers. Didn't even think of that. There's probably not going to be a lightsaber in this movie. The Darksaber is destroyed. Luke Skywalker, even if he would show up, probably wouldn't be wielding his lightsaber. Yeah, Grogu doesn't have a lightsaber yet. No lightsaber. Oh, interesting. Is this the first Star Wars movie without a lightsaber? It is. It 100% is. Because even Rogue One has Vader. Even Solo has Maul. Wow. That's crazy. Favreau makes great use of the aspect ratio change with IMAX formatting and a host of impressive practical and digital effects to craft a film that feels epic in scale and cinematic in scope. Sure. Controversially, the film bolsters a narrative almost entirely devoid of intrigue that fails to justify why it demands to be told on the big screen. So this is a very, very fancy way of saying it's a extended version of the show. Rod of the Hutt emerges as an unexpected standout in this narrative as a character formerly known as Stinky, brings a cinematic presence to the action and endearing heart to the story. This is now the second person that has said this, that Rod of the Hutt's story is endearing, is heartfelt. Not at all what I expected from Rod of the Hutt, not going to lie. Now, whether Din Djarin neither Din Djarin nor Grogu undergo substantial arcs or develop in meaningful ways, the galaxy's lone wolf and cub continue to make for an undeniably lovable duo and are responsible for some genuinely heartwarming moments amidst a story about fatherhood and legacy. Interesting. Legacy. Arguably just as important as any character in the film is the score. Again, Ludwig Göransson for the win, which fuses orchestral John Williams-inspired motifs with tenets of hip-hop and techno to become a truly singular and atmospheric backing to the film. Seems like they're just using big words for fun. But after so many years since a Star Wars movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu overwhelmingly accomplishes the mission at hand in capturing the spirit and joy of the original trilogy and telling an exceedingly exciting adventure story akin to a classic Indiana Jones film, like we just were talking about. Jon Favreau's movie is quintessential Star Wars. Another pretty high praise review right there. Now let's get to the bad ones. Let's get to the Rotten Tomato scores here, at least good and bad, I guess. So let's start with the top critics, quote unquote. Let's do that. Mandalorian and Grogu is basically 4 Mandalorian and Grogu episodes wearing an IMAX trench coat. 2.5 out of 4? What? 2.5 out of... Just do it out of 10. Do it out of 5. 4? What? Odd, but okay. So 2.5 out of 4, of course, because everybody uses those metrics. Again, the Mandalorian episodes just turned into a movie. That's what we all expected. One of the movie's strong points, absent its story. No, too many big words. Sorry, too many big words. Too many big words. Let's go to a bad one. All right, here we go. It's not a great look when CG-enhanced puppets are outperforming everyone in the lineup, delivering their lines like they turned up on set with a hangover every day. Oh, sorry. Let me read that again. It's not a great look when CG-enhanced puppets are outperforming everyone in the lineup, delivering their lines like they just turned up on set with a hangover every day. So saying that the CG puppets are better performers than the actual actors? There's not many humans in this movie. We just got over talking about how there's not many humans in this movie. Oh, great call. Let me do that. Okay. So while I read these reviews, and we're going to read a lot more of them in a second here, let's do the giveaway. So we're doing the giveaway a little bit differently today. So shout out to Burger King for doing this. It's awesome. The Burger King collab, if you have not watched the members-only video, me and Sam eat the entire Burger King meal and rate the entire thing. But Burger King sent me this best card in this cool box right here. It's got the mud horn on it and everything. It even says, have it the way on the back. It is a gift card, too, for Burger King, but it comes with this really cool metal, gift card. We're going to give that away right now. So here's how this is going to work differently today. So starting giveaway. Giveaway has started. Let's see. Ha ha ha. Look at that. Okay. So what you have to do here is put in exclamation point giveaway and then however many credits that you want to use. It is 100 credits per ticket, and you can buy as many tickets as you want, pretty much. I think it caps out at like 10,000 or something. So you can buy as many tickets as you want, 100 credits per ticket, giveaway, and then put how many credits you want to put down. So you have to do giveaway, and then how many credits you want to put down, 100 credits per ticket, and you get a 1 in whatever chance to win the best car for completely free. The best card. Sorry. So exclamation point, giveaway, and then any number 100 through 10,000, and you'll be entered to win. That card probably not going to work in Sweden. I'm pretty sure it is. It's a worldwide thing for Burger King. I'm pretty sure it is. But Burger King will be sending it to you directly, like through me, obviously, when you win. But yeah. Okay. Let's see how this is working. Giveaway has started. Okay. Wait, what? How do I? Did I not just do that? Wait a second. Oh, active. Inactive, active. Oh. Did I? Wait. Hang on a second, chat. Wait a second. Let me see. How does this work? That's a great question, Chet. That is a great question. How does this work? Oh, okay. We're in. All right, all right. So this is going to last for 30 minutes, just about, and then I will pick a winner after the 30 minutes has gone on. So right now, I see. Okay. Cool. All right. So that's up. You guys can put in for that right now, and it will. Let me see. Fearless, how did you do it? You got to do it the way the Fearless did it. It's exclamation point, giveaway, space, and then the number you want to do. Because Fearless is in, and we'll go from there. All right. Let's read some more reviews. Alonzo says, there is no shortage of Star Wars level wow factor, from the slimy beast, Rod of the Hutt, to the outer space dogfights with Ludwig Göransson's score. Again, shout out to Ludwig. But the dogfights mentioned yet again, with the leak suggesting that we're getting a pretty big dogfight in this movie. Oh yeah, because this makes sense. Like, what is this scoring system? First it was out of 4. And now it's on a scale of A, B, C's, I guess. This one's out of 5. Jesus. All right, let's keep going. The plot is non-existent, and it really feels like a fully CGI movie. Again, a lot of non-human characters. But when it's just Mando and Grogu, going from A to B, it's such a sweet story. So I guess their complaint is too many CGI characters. This is Star Wars we're watching here. When Favreau banished traditional actors in order to send little puppet creatures scuttling through a verdant landscape, suddenly the human light blockbuster looks, if not quite visionary, at least novel. So again, talking about the lack of human characters in this as well. It's a scrappy, creature-filled adventure movie about a weary warrior and his tiny adopted son stumbling into danger after danger. It may not reinvent the franchise, but it reminds you why you fell in love with the world in the first place. So it reminds you why you love Star Wars so much in the first place. That's a pretty good review right there. 4 out of 5. 3 out of 5. The first Star Wars movie in nearly a decade doesn't shake up the formula. Instead, it's a lively, if essentially extended episode of the series. But Mando remains cool and Grogu remains cute. So again, an extended episode of the franchise, of the series, which we assumed this movie was going to be. And it doesn't shake up the formula of what a Star Wars movie is. It's not The Last Jedi. It's not The Phantom Menace in terms of shaking up what Star Wars is. Instead, it expands on what it already is. By nudging The Mandalorian onto the big screen, Disney, the purveyors of the Star Wars multiverse, is offering nothing more or less than a couple of likable, diverting, semi-forgettable episodes jammed together. So yet again, multiple episodes jammed together for a big screen. 2 out of 4, sorry. Back to the 4. So 50%? You're giving it a 50? You're giving it a B minus? Like what? The runtime... The runtime saps energy. And when it's all done, the scrolling credits for all those special effects go on for a full 5 minutes. We used to leave a Star Wars movie on a cloud. Here's that galaxy far, far away. Here, that galaxy far, far away. What? We used to leave a new Star Wars movie on a cloud. Here, that galaxy is far, far away. Aha. I get it now. I get it. I get the pun. Again, complaining about the special effects. 3 out of 4. It is an enjoyable throwback romp with plenty of action and weird creatures to overcome the weaknesses of the movie. A 1 out of 5. Here we go. Would somebody please put Star Wars out of its misery? Kevin? What misery? We just watched the greatest animated season of Star Wars television just a couple weeks ago. Maul Shadowlord. This time last year, we watched one of the greatest seasons of live action television with Andor Season 2. Please tell me where the misery is, Kevin. Kevin, where's the misery? Because as a Star Wars fan in 2026, I have never been happier. I have never been more satisfied. So please tell me where the misery lies, Kevin. The only misery that lies here is me having to read your stupid review. That was mean. I'm sorry, Kevin. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I only kind of meant it.
This is where the fun begins.
It's just funny to me because Star Wars has pretty much never been in a better spot than right this second. With a movie coming out in a couple days, having just watched the best animated Star Wars, having just watched the best live action Star Wars, it's kind of hard to say that Star Wars is in misery or Star Wars fans are in misery. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I've tried 3 times. I quit. Hang on. Some of you guys are in here, okay? Some of you guys are in the raffle already. Oh, wait. Did I do that? Hang on. Wait a second. Wait a second. Yeah, some of you are already in the raffle. We're good. I'm seeing a whole list of people that have gone into the raffle. We're good. We got Fearless, Aaron, John Groom, Manny. We got plenty of people in there. Plenty of people in there. There is 20 minutes left on the raffle, too. Indeed. All right. Continuing. All right. Continuing. Back to Kevin. Would somebody please put Star Wars out of its misery? Oh, to live a day in Kevin's shoes. It's an ailing pop culture mutant. I like the mutants. Unrecognizable from the chirpy fable that George Lucas revealed to the world in 1977. Kevin seems to me... No. Respect, Kevin. Respect. Bet you hated The Empire Strikes Back. Okay. Danny with a 3 out of 5. I don't get this system. 3 out of 5, but 3 out of 4. I don't know. In wrangling his own inheritance from Lucas and J.J. Abrams, Jon Favreau has at least given Generation Alpha, which I guess is the newest generation, back the small joys of the Star Wars movies in a world getting no less hard for little things. And no less hard for little things. So he's pretty much saying this is a great movie for the next generation of Star Wars fans. 3 out of 4 from Johnny. I don't see The Mandalorian and Grogu as a starting point for the series of films so much as a likable enough one-off with plenty of exciting action set pieces. So not an entry point to Star Wars, but a good spot in the Star Wars timeline. 2 out of 5, so less than 50% here. 4 out of 10. Some would even say 40 out of 100. As the story returns things to status quo, it's hard to think of what has even changed between the two of them, Din and Grogu. What they might have learned about each other, and if the filmmaker will ever be an will ever be an interest in finding out. Filmmakers will ever be an interest to finding out. So I guess what we're saying here is that Din and Grogu don't go through much change in this movie, is what I'm getting from that. Yeah. Okay, this is nothing out of nothing, but it's a bad score. Drab and stone-faced to a fault. The Mandalorian Grogu struggles to capture the inventive is what I was trying to say. The inventive vitality of a better Star Wars movie, more with action scenes that feel frustratingly pro forma, and lifeless performances that seem determined to lull us to sleep. New York Magazine / Vulture. I guess those are the same thing. Kate with a C+. Rotten Tomatoes, we got to get this shit together. Get your shit together. What is this ranking system? With a C+, says, inessential and inoffensive, frequently adorable and fun for the whole family. Jon Favreau's film feels like 3 good enough TV episodes smushed together. Yet again, putting Mandalorian episodes together. Exactly what we expected. 6 out of 10. Finally, something Matt from Screen Crush I can get behind. Not the score, but, at least it's out of 10. This is the way to turn a season of TV into a solid but unremarkable feature. Again, a long version of the show. Shocker. That is what we are anticipating here. That is what we thought was going to happen. Okay. 2 out of 5. With The Mandalorian and Grogu, Star Wars has lost all sense of wonder. So pretty much the exact opposite of what Star Wars Newsnet said. The exact opposite. 2 out of 5 from Robbie. Everything Disney needs to revive the franchise after its 7-year absence from the cinema is in here. Sorry. The problem is there's only around 20 minutes of it, and much of the rest is hopeless. Also saying only 20 minutes of the movie is good and the rest is hopeless. Okay. Got it, Robbie. Got it. Let's load some more. William with the rap gives it a tomato out of 10 or 100 or an ABC. Sure. It's a deft and enjoyable blockbuster. Easily the most purely entertaining Star Wars movie since 1980s. Whoa, that's some high praise. Even though it's hardly the most meaningful or ambitious. So the most entertaining Star Wars movie since the 80s, although it is not as meaningful or important as a Skywalker saga film. That's some pretty high praise. 3 out of 5 from Peter says the film is watchable and barrels along capably enough. Sure, English, Mike. Why not? But perhaps there isn't enough of the humanity, humor, and extravagant space melodrama, which has made and continues to make Star Wars lovable. So not enough drama for Peter. Frank says, it's hard to imagine anyone experiencing this as their first Star Wars film and getting hooked for life as those who saw the original trilogy in theaters did. Still, it's an entertaining, fast-paced space adventure. So some people are saying it's a great first introduction for the next generation of Star Wars fans, and some people saying they can't imagine this being the same thing as what they watched for the first time in theaters. Nick says, a swashbuckling space western that deftly marries combative spectacular and kid-friendly cuteness. So balancing the cuteness of Grogu and the kid appeal of Grogu with awesome combat and action sequences for adults. This is what the show did. I mean, there's no shock here. There's no surprise here that this is the exact same thing with the show. This is a movie based off the show. No surprise there. Liz gives it a B out of something. Out of ABC, I guess. As Liz says, There have been some exciting new stories told in the universe since The Rise of Skywalker, but watching the latest installment of The Lone Wolf and Cub in Space just confirms the degree of which Star Wars feels like it's spinning its wheels. So again, a continuation of the show itself. So some pretty high praise reviews, some pretty low praise reviews, and some people like Kevin who hate Star Wars. And have clearly been out of touch with the Star Wars universe as of late. Either way, all that leads to a 61. Is it still at 61? Let's find out. Yes, a 61 on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics. Now, we will see how that changes. You look at the audience score versus critic score for certain Star Wars projects, and things look vastly different. Let's see. See if I can find a list of all the Star Wars movies' Rotten Tomato scores. Aha, here we go. Oh, but that's just the critic score. What about the audience scores? Let's see. I want the audience score too. Where's the audience score? I guess it's not going to give it to me. Either way, there's been plenty of Star Wars movies where the audience score and the critic score are vastly different. I wonder if this movie will be the same. I mean, it could go one of two ways. It could be very, very highly praised by audiences. It could be in the 80s, could be in the 90s, or we could get another accolade situation on our hands and it has a 13% before it even comes out. Well, that's not going to happen because it comes out in 2 days. Either way, what do we think? What do we think of those reviews? What do we think of what do we think of this start for the reviews of this movie? Again, these are just the critics and some influencers. We don't know until we see it ourselves. All we have is to go off of is some people who really like the movie, some people who really don't like the movie, and some people who are like Kevin who hate their lives. I kind of feel bad for Kevin, but Kevin, watch Small Shadow Lord. Star Wars fans are not in misery right now. I can guarantee you that much. I mean, maybe some are. Maybe some are. Now that we went through all those sort of more negative ones, let's look at some more positive ones on the other hand as well. This is coming from Star Wars themselves, so these are going to be probably all positive, as Star Wars wouldn't post a negative review, I assume. But Vader's Order says, The Mandalorian and Grogu is such a heartfelt, action-packed, incredible film. I absolutely loved this movie from start to finish. It was truly such an incredible way to bring Star Wars back to cinemas. Pretty high praise. R2-D2, nice. Star Wars is back. This time 10 times cuter with 100 times more creatures. Again, a lot more creatures. This can go one of two ways. You can have people like R2-D2 who are really excited to see more creatures in Star Wars, more puppets and CG creatures and all that stuff, and they're excited by that, so they love the movie so much more. And then people, like we read on the reviews just a second ago, that hate the CGI monsters, hate the fact that there's very little humans in this movie, and they're going to hate the movie. I guess it's just a way you got to look at the film. Mandalorian and Grogu is must-see in IMAX. The life-size AT-AT heist is something to behold. They did make a life-size AT-AT in like a practical room for the AT-AT, and that's going to be great. But must see in IMAX. I mean, this is forged for IMAX. They've been pushing that over and over and over again. I am seeing it in IMAX, so hopefully that's really great. Did you miss the Ahsoka news? No, but we do have to get to that, so give me a sec. The Nerds of Color says, The Mandalorian and Grogu is the most fun I've had with the Star Wars film in a decade. Isn't this I was going to say, isn't this the only Star Wars movie in the last decade? It's not. So pretty much what they're saying is it's more fun than Solo, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. Which, I mean, that's still pretty high praise. Bigger, bolder, and more brutal than the Mando's ever been. Whoa, more brutal than Mando's ever been? That's interesting. He was eviscerating Jawas in season 1 with his pulse rifle. More brutal than that? It begs to be seen on the biggest screen possible. That don't have to tell me twice. Real Jeff Ewing. Mandalorian and Grogu is an absolute blast. It's grounded, but with solid action sequences. quite a few surprises. This is the first. We just read 1,000 reviews. We just read 6 billion reviews for this movie. This is the very first one that mentions a surprise. The first one that mentions any type of surprise. That's why I was thinking there's going to be absolutely zero Luke Skywalker cameos or any crazy cameos like that, because nobody's mentioning it. Not in the good reviews, not in the bad reviews, not in any of the reviews, except for this guy. Shout out to Jeff. Quite a few surprises. Interesting. I'm hoping Jeff is right. Stellar stop motion. We got, all the stop motion stuff back with Phil Tippett as well. Creative Beasts, again, whether you like CG monsters or not, it's going to depend on how much you like this movie. And a great little Grogu side quest. Yeah, with the old, lizard in a rocking chair. What's up with that guy? Still don't know. Brendan Civey, sure. Brendan says, fun, adventurous, and action-packed. A lot of callbacks to the prequels. Interesting. And originals. Yeah, we do the originals, but prequels is pretty crazy. And seasons 1 through 3 of The Mandalorian. Mando and Grogu as a duo continues to be the dynamic duo. Zeb, and more Zeb. Love that. Rod of the Hutt was definitely one of my favorite characters after watching the movie. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie and cannot wait until you guys watch it. If Rod of the Hutt is definitely one of the favorite of this movie after watching this movie, he's got to have a pretty big role. He's going to have a pretty big role. But those are, again, the very positive ones because Star Wars themselves posted it. But either way, those are fans who've seen the movie who liked the movie. So we looked at the negative, we looked at the positive, we looked at the in-betweens. Now let's talk some Ahsoka Season 2. We got one more Mando trailer I wanted to watch. One more Mando trailer. Oh, actually 2. I lied. 2 more Mando trailers. This one's only 15 seconds, so.
Summer has started, and audiences have spoken.
That's impressive.
Hop on.
Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu.
So this is just a couple, snippets of summer has started. Thrilling, says somebody. Absolute blast, says somebody else. Incredible, says somebody else. Must see in IMAX. So it's that type of trailer. However, behind those words, we got this AT-AT sequence.
An audience.
Where Din Djarin's going all badass like a Daredevil one-shot type deal. Pretty epic right there. Then we got Grogu. Oh, sorry, we got X-Wing fight. Those dog fights we were talking about. Old lizard dude. Grogu's side quest that we don't know anything about. I have no idea what's going on here. Not a clue. So there's that. And then
Hop on.
action sequences. Whoa, what is that? Where is he? So this is going to sound crazy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you may feel a little bit lost. But the first time we got any footage leaked for The Mandalorian and Grogu, Din and Grogu were right outside of this sort of abandoned-looking ship that had vines growing through it and like it just looked destroyed and all that. Then in a somewhat recent trailer, we actually did see that again. It had been years and years and years, but we had seen that again. This looks like that same ship. You got these sort of sticks and twigs and vines growing through it, and it looks to be sort of an abandoned old structure with Grogu placing an explosive. I don't know what's going on here. Could be the Anzellan ship. Now, the Anzellan ship's not filled with sticks and vines. So I don't know what that scene's about, but it's making you think that this explosion is what's happening, but it's not. It's clearly not. These are two very different locations. This is Nal Hutta with the Twin Hutts, and this is who knows where.
Star Wars.
But we do have one other one that just came out today, I believe. Let's see. What? Wait, what? Oh, okay. What? Could have sworn I saved it. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on, one sec. Oh, we got a new poster. This poster just came out a second ago. Or I guess an hour ago. Din and Grogu, Embo, the Dragon Snake, the Twin Huts, the Razor Crest. That's pretty cool. I like that. Ah, yes, this was the one. I guess I didn't save it. Another 15-second one. Keep in mind, they're promoting it as the next installment of Star Wars. Not a spin-off like Rogue One or Solo, but Star Wars. And yes, it is a spin-off movie. Could be the beginning of a new trilogy, which would be nice, but they are promoting it as Star Wars is back.
The summer was made for Star Wars, and Star Wars was made for IMAX.
You too could change everything.
Star Wars,
And again, talking about the significance of this film, the importance of this mission. You too could change everything. Colonel Ward is saying that, but Din and Grogu being the two that could change the galaxy and change everything. The significance of the movie. Not just a spin-off movie that doesn't really mean anything, but something that actually has meaning to it. You should see it in the theaters, is sort of what they're trying to get at there. All right, now let's talk Ahsoka Season 2. Let's talk Ahsoka Season 2. So, the last we spoke, we got some really, really bad news. And we've had a whole week to, settle down, contain our feelings, all that great stuff. Now, here we are, a week later. Ahsoka Season 2 has still been delayed till 2027. That's not going to change. It was just delayed. Delayed till 2027. Now, is this the end of the world? No. Do I wish that it came out a lot sooner? Yes. However, Ahsoka Season 2 is still going to be epic. The reason that it's going to take a lot longer now, I think, is because it's so much bigger than Season 1. Because it's a war in our Star Wars and all that great stuff. However, although we may not have gotten the news we wanted last week, in the show was delayed, there was a teaser trailer shown to the people in attendance at that Disney event. And now we have a description of that. Take a look at this. This is what we know so far about the Ahsoka Season 2 teaser / behind the scenes that was shown to the Disney Upfront people on last Tuesday. Footage overall was very short but sweet. A shot of Sabine reverse grip of a lightsaber while using her flamethrower from her gauntlet, so reverse grip is very Ahsoka-esque. A lot of Hayden as Anakin. Now that's very strange. Yes, Hayden as Anakin was in Season 1. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But he's only in it in the World Between Worlds, as a hologram, and then as a Force Ghost at the very end of the series. I don't think we're getting another World Between Worlds sequence. Maybe some more flashbacks some way, somehow, to explain the Mortis gods or something like that. But a lot of Hayden as Anakin? As a Force Ghost? In real time? As a flashback? What do you think they're talking about here? What do you think we're talking about here? Oh, did the giveaway end? Wait a second. I think the giveaway ended. Okay, so it says I can pick a winner here. Yeah, I don't think I'm seeing everybody. Here's what we're going to do. Here is what we are going to do here, Jed. Let's do this. Back. Custom. Huh. Whoa. We picked somebody. Oh, pick winner. Okay, there we go. Does that show you who won? 50 Thunderer. No way. 50 Thunderer, you won. 50 Thunderer has won the best car Burger King gift card. There you go. Okay, 50 Thunderer. Love to see it be that's very cool. I don't know how this worked, but that is awesome. That is awesome. Aaron, I appreciate that. No way it's fixed. Just because you didn't win, it's fixed. So, 50 Thunder, hit me up, and we will get this sent out to you. Burger King will get this sent out to you. Pretty crazy. That's wild. 50 Thunder, have you ever won a giveaway? I don't think you have. I literally just pressed pick winner, and it randomly selected one of the people who entered. That's pretty crazy. We'll have to do more of those. Those are pretty cool. Well, congratulations to 50 Thunder. You have won the giveaway. Now let's get to the good stuff here. Let's get back to business here. Let's get back to business. So a lot more of Hayden Christensen, a lot more of Anakin Skywalker in this second season. Now that's a surprise to me. How? Force Ghost? Flashback? Like, how is there going to be a lot more Anakin? The biggest question for me is, why is Anakin's Force Ghost not able to appear to anybody else? Why is he not able to appear to Luke when he needs him before the sequel trilogy, to Ben Solo when he needs him in the sequel trilogy, to even Rey for all I care? Like, why does he not show up to anybody? Why is he just like ghosting everybody, literally, no pun intended? Why is he ghosting everybody after the Battle of Endor? Because you see his ghost show up right after on Endor, smile at Luke, say hi to Yoda and Obi-Wan, and then he just disappears forever? So Ahsoka Season 2 has to explain why that is. Has to explain it. But having a lot more Hayden and Anakin might mean we're getting a lot more Force Ghost Anakin. My guess is that Anakin is on some sort of purgatory on Peridia. Interesting. I like that a lot. That could be the case. He's maybe doing something there that's more important, that he needs to protect the galaxy from some bigger threat. That would be my ideal situation. If the reason Anakin doesn't interfere with Luke, doesn't interfere with anything, is because of like Abeloth, or because of something crazy like that, then it makes sense. Then it would actually, make sense why he doesn't appear to Luke at all. But it has to be something extremely important. Yeah. Or Leia, Mike, his daughter. Are you sexist, Mike? No. No. Let's start there. No. The only reason I said Luke was because Luke, has his whole Jedi Temple collapse, his nephew fall to the dark side. You'd think Anakin would show up and be like, hey, calm down, buddy. You're all good. Leia's doing just fine. If anything, Leia's well better off than Luke. She's girl bossing it up. She's doing just fine. Although I guess her son does fall to the dark side. Can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bumpa. Leia's fine on her own. She doesn't need Anakin's help. Luke Skywalker desperately needs his dad's help. Take that how you will. Yeah. Luke goes into hiding by himself for forever, and Anakin could have shown up to him and been like, what are you doing? What are you doing, son? Because while he does that, his sister is still being the badass, still being the general of the resistance, still being the person who's trying to save the galaxy, while Luke is doing nothing. Big Jugs follow orders. The big jug is all the way over there now. I don't even have it next to me. Okay. Anakin has a new costume. I don't really know what that means. Jedi robes or I don't know. He wasn't a Force ghost, at least visibly. So could be that the VFX are not done yet, a B-roll shot, or it's an entirely new costume, and Anakin is in the physical realm, or maybe not in the physical realm, but at least in some sort of realm where he can be physical, I guess. Are you being sexist to men now, Mike? No, I'm just shitting on Luke Skywalker. Let's be realistic here. I'm just shitting on Luke Skywalker. Flashbacks. It could be flashbacks because, well, it can't. It probably isn't flashbacks because if it was, then it would be a costume that we've seen Anakin in before. Like his Clone Wars armor, which we saw him in season 1 of Ahsoka. So if it was a flashback, then it would be a costume we've seen before, not an entirely new one. You know? Epic space battles are shown. Great. Love that. We're getting a war in our Star Wars. Lightsaber combat was shown. Of course. I mean, there's like 10 people in the show that have lightsabers. There was a lightsaber. It does not seem like something we've seen on screen before. What? A lightsaber that doesn't look like something we've seen on screen before. What does that mean? We have seen laser whips. We have seen cross blades. We've seen double-bladed lightsabers. We've seen lightsabers that spin around in circles. We've seen lightsabers that detach from each other. What does this mean? Please, not the light whip. Well, we've seen the light whip, so it can't be the light whip because this is something we've never seen on screen before. What do you think they're talking about here? What are we talking about here? Maybe Anakin could appear physically inside of a temple? Maybe. Well, I'm thinking back to my theory from a couple weeks ago where I think Ahsoka and Baylan, whatever Baylan's looking at on that glimmering light on top of a mountaintop, I think he could be looking at Abeloth, of course. And if Abeloth is in a prison, she's likely in a prison that's in a different realm. Just like in the Clone Wars when Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan go to Mortis. And in the real world, no time has passed, although they've been in that Mortis world for multiple days. No time has passed, and their physical bodies don't disappear. So it could be that Anakin can appear physically in that weird non-physical realm like Mortis. My brain is going to explode. That's a lot, but it does make sense. He could appear physically in a realm that is not the physical realm. Like the World Between Worlds, but it's not the World Between Worlds. It's just like the World Between Worlds. Are you with me so far? Are you with me, chat? Ezra's blaster / saber combo? It could be something like that, but Ezra did just get a lightsaber. So the only person who would have a lightsaber that we've never seen before would be Anakin, right? Because we know what Ahsoka's lightsabers look like. Or lightsaber, sorry. I forgot that she loses one of her lightsabers at the end of season 1. Me and Samantha just finished season 1. We're watching Skeleton Crew now. We're almost caught up. We're going to make it. We're going to make it before the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We're going to make it. But we watched Ahsoka, and I forgot that when she's fighting Morgan Elsbeth, one of her lightsabers gets chopped in half by the Mother Talzin blade. By the way, extremely underrated fight sequence. Choreography-wise and just badassery, awesome. Morgan Elsbeth versus Ahsoka. But she does slice one of those lightsabers in half, so she's down to one lightsaber. Yeah. But we know what Ahsoka's lightsaber looks like. We know what Sabine's looks like. It's Ezra's old one. We know what Ezra's new one looks like because we saw him craft it. We know what Baylan Skoll's looks like. We know what Shin Hati's looks like. So the only new lightsaber in the show would either be Anakin's or Abeloth's, if Abeloth even exists. So this supposed new lightsaber that we've never seen on screen before could be Anakin's from the afterlife. That would be crazy. Lightsabers of all shapes and flavors. Again, shapes? What's up with that? And Ezra was in the teaser too. No surprise there. No surprise there. So, not a lot to go off of. A lot of Anakin, which is shocking. And a new costume for Anakin. And a new lightsaber that we've never seen on screen before. Ahsoka Season 2 hype got me going crazy right now. It got me going crazy. And it gets even more crazy when you look at this. It was just reported from industry insider Daniel RPK, who has been right many, many times before. And has been wrong before, but, has been right many, many times before. And Daniel says Anakin Skywalker is reportedly appearing in 2 future Star Wars projects besides Ahsoka Season 2. So other than Ahsoka Season 2, Anakin Skywalker will appear in 2 other projects. Not shows, projects. Now, will he appear in The Mandalorian and Grogu? No. Will he appear in Starfighter? Probably not. I seriously doubt it. But what else could he appear in? What else could Anakin Skywalker appear in? This makes me think that we obviously don't have everything announced yet. All the projects that we know of have not been announced. For example, the only live-action Star Wars show that we know of is Ahsoka Season 2. After that, there's nothing. So there's probably going to be some announcements for some new live-action ones. And then after Starfighter comes out, we have no idea what the next Star Wars movie is going to be. So more announcements about that. Either way, they know something we don't know. I know something you don't know. Lucasfilm knows something we don't know. And those projects, at least 2 of them, are reportedly going to feature Anakin Skywalker. The live-action image could be misleading. It could be. Yeah, it says projects. It does not say live-action projects. It just says projects. Now, that could be animated projects. Now, where could he appear in an animated project? Shadow Lord? Shadow Lord, they say Anakin Skywalker. When you say Anakin, you make me think Anakin, not Vader. And this report is coming from 2 days ago, not after Vader already appeared in the finale of Maul Shadow Lord. Cooper Franklin with a very generous $2 haul says Dave Filoni's film and Rey's movie would be my guesses. If he's in the Dave movie, that would be insane. If he's in the Rey movie, that would be insane. Anywhere Anakin would show up would be insane at this point, pretty much. But I like those 2. I like those 2, for sure. Dave's movie has been scrapped? No. Dawn of the Jedi has also been scrapped? No. No, they have not. No, they have not. Dawn of the Jedi has been put on hold, I suppose. The script is done. Kathleen Kennedy's read the script. But James Mangold is making a different movie right now. So it won't be done. It won't at least be created until next year at the earliest. And the Dave Filoni movie is just waiting for Ahsoka Season 2 to finish up. Indeed. But in terms of animated shows, we just got the leak a couple weeks ago that we could be getting a Luke Skywalker in a Tales of series. Is it possible that we're getting a Tales of the Jedi and the 2 Jedi we're focusing on are Anakin and Luke? Because that would be insane. Father and son? That would be way bigger than Season 1 of Tales of the Jedi or any other Tales story that came before. But it's definitely a possibility. One leak a couple weeks ago says Luke Skywalker is going to be in a Tales of the blank show, and now we're getting a Anakin Skywalker could show up in 2 future Star Wars projects? Look it up. Screen Crush talks about that Dawn of the Jedi is dead. Let's see. Dawn of the Jedi. Last we heard from Kathleen Kennedy herself was about 2 months ago. Something like that. And she said that the script is done. Hang on, let's see. Let's see. Yes, this is what we talked about before. Kathleen Kennedy, Star Wars film update. Dawn of the Jedi on hold. All right, let's see if I can find something else. Let's see what I can find. What about this? From the Geek Tyrant. I don't know if I've ever read anything off this. James Mangold's project reportedly dead at Lucasfilm. All right, here we go. The future of Star Wars... Oh, you guys can't see this. The future of Star Wars movies continues to shift. The latest rumors suggest that one of the franchise's most intriguing ideas may have been scrapped. According to a new report, James Mangold's planned Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi film may no longer be moving forward at Lucasfilm. So it's not canceled. It might no longer be. It's been reported, and it's suggested in a rumor. Lucasfilm has not come out and canceled it at all. Now, is it never going to happen? Possibly. But this does not mean that it's gone forever. This... Well, let's keep reading, I guess. No, let's go into what the project was originally. Okay, here we go. Now, industry insider Jeff Snyder has added to the speculation. Speaking on the Hot Mic podcast, he shared what he hears about the project's fate. I can't say anything conclusively, but it doesn't sound good. I think Mangold is focused on the Timothée Chalamet heist movie, is what I think. I think Swamp Thing could be after that. So pretty much what he's saying is the movie, from what he's hearing, it doesn't sound good because he's working on all these other things. So pretty much, Dawn of the Jedi is not canceled, but it might be a while. If he's doing 2 movies before then, you're talking, we won't be getting Dawn of the Jedi till 2029, 2030. But it does not mean it's canceled by any means. Yeah. This movie is as canceled as the Rey movie is. And the Rey movie is not canceled. So, just because these movies have not yet filmed does not mean that they don't exist. Indeed. But, getting back to it. Anakin Skywalker appearing in 2 future Star Wars projects besides Ahsoka series, besides Ahsoka Season 2. What do we think it is? What do we think it is indeed? Mangold seems to be out because of scheduling. The movie itself and the concept isn't dead. Well, I think it will still be Mangold. It'll just be after he's done filming Swamp Thing in the Timothée Chalamet movie. Indeed. Somebody did bring up, actually, I think it was, shout out to the Clan Brandalorian. He brought up to me that maybe this is Hunt for Ben Solo. As much as I would love the Hunt for Ben Solo to still exist, it seems very unlikely at this point. But if we were getting a Hunt for Ben Solo where Ben Solo goes into the World Between Worlds and then somehow survives, would Anakin not be the one who meets him? Or Luke maybe? Or both? Kylo Ren worships his grandfather as Vader. So maybe Anakin comes to him and goes, look, buddy, Vader is, no thanks. He's not the good guy, World Between Worlds. Yeah, it would have to be a World Between Worlds. Anakin could show up as a Force ghost. He could show up in the World Between Worlds. He could show up as a flashback. He could show up pretty much anywhere in anything. But if he does, it will be insane. Like, you can't just show him just to show him. You can't just be like, look, Anakin's here for fun. He is the chosen one. He is the main guy, the main character of Star Wars. So if he's in something, it's extremely important. Extremely important. Interesting. KG brings up a great possibility. Maybe it says Star Wars projects because they're talking about a comic. The Fall of Kylo Ren was just announced. A new comic series about Kylo Ren. So it's possible that it could be in a comic as well. Although that would not be ideal because I want it to be in live action. Or animation. I'll take animation. Yeah. Why can't we get a whole Clone Wars / Rebels show about Luke's Academy? You're preaching to the choir. Yeah, you don't have to ask me twice. We've been begging for this for years. A Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. Anything to continue that story. Give us Ben Solo's fall. Give us Snoke's rise, the First Order's rise. Luke Skywalker training Jedi. Give us brand new characters like Ahsoka and Rex were in the Clone Wars. Yeah. 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 Seems like a no-brainer. Seems like it. Oh, yeah. So Sam is actually sending me right now all these pictures from Disney. Let's take a look at these. Let's take a look at these, chat. So if you don't know, the reason we didn't have a live stream on Saturday and last Thursday was because me and Samantha went to Disney. Disney World, that is. Not to be confused with Disneyland. And at Disney, we, of course, took a bunch of pictures. Let's start in front of the castle. So at Disney, we went on Thursday. So Thursday was that. We went from open to close. We went to 3 different parks, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios, of course. Spent the majority of our time at Galaxy's Edge, where this is us in front of the again. But let's go to Galaxy's Edge here. There I am. Look at my hat, chat. It says a guy who loves Star Wars on it. It says a guy who loves Star Wars on it. I got a lot of comments on my shirt, too. We'll go through these quick. So there's us in front of the Millennium Falcon. Oh, we just saw that one. My bad. My bad. There's us again in front of the Millennium Falcon. Samantha turned to the dark side, went to the First Order. I also joined her there.
I got a bad feeling about this.
And that's about it. So there you have it. That's about it. There's like 1,000 more pictures, but I don't want to bore you with the no fun. Oh, I meant to show this. Did I not show this earlier? This was the giveaway. The 50 Thunder won this, by the way. So yeah, okay. Those are our pictures. There's plenty more in videos and everything too. I'll send them to the Discord if you want, but go join the Discord that's linked in the description below. To Discord because the people love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. Okay. Having said that, we only have 2 more days until the Mandalorian and Grogu. Tomorrow, we have Star Wars Jedi Chat. Ron is actually flying up to here to come see in person. In-person watch party on Thursday. You are all invited. Assembly Row, 7:30. Somerville, Mass. IMAX, 7:30 Thursday. Hit me up, and I'll save you a ticket. Completely free ticket, by the way. Completely free. They're already bought. I'm handing them out. We got a bunch of people already coming. Pretty great stuff. And Ron is one of the people coming. So Star Wars Jedi Chat, which is always on Wednesday nights, is going to be a little bit earlier this week. So instead of the 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be together live for the first time ever. So watch out for that. And then our usual Thursday live stream on Thursday, which will be the last live stream before the first Star Wars movie in 7 years, which is pretty great. We'll do our predictions and all that. Who's going to die, who's going to show up, all that great stuff. We shall do that. How much money is this movie going to make? It'll be the last time we ever see each other without having seen the movie. Mike, will there ever be a meetup in Europe for the people who love Star Wars? Riley, whenever I get to Europe, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to go to Europe. But, yeah. All right, let's watch the official scene one more time for the 2 official scenes, I should say, that we got for this movie one last time before we get on out of here. Let's start with, actually, let's go in order here. Let's go in order with this one first.
This is worth a lot more than the bounty.
Oh, hang on. First and foremost, turn that all the way up. Secondly, why is the quality so trash? Much better. And turn it up to 11. Let's do it.
This is worth a lot more than the bounty on that imp.
Well, let's call it an advance on the next mission.
What next mission?
Commander Coyne. Our missing ace of staves. No one knows what he looks like, and most believe him to be dead.
Not a lot to go on. What's the play?
I want you to go to Nal Hutta and meet with the Hutts. They've agreed to lead us to him.
What's in it for them?
Their nephew is being held against his will by another crime syndicate on the Outer Rim, and they need a professional to get him out quickly and quietly.
Where is he?
They'll only tell you in person.
You got a name?
His name is Rada the Hutt, the only surviving heir of crime lord Jabba the Hutt. You ever cross his path?
I tried not to.
So, do we have a deal?
I only hunt down Imperial war criminals. I don't work for gangsters anymore. Especially the Hutts.
That's right, you don't. You work for us. And right now, this is what we need you to do.
So it's funny because this is very much a continuation of the original trilogy. Like Jabba the Hutt dying is sort of the main event into this movie with the twin Hutts and Rada the Hutt and all that stuff. So it's very much connected to that. What's funny is, to many Star Wars fans, you either remember Stinky from the Clone Wars, or you've never seen the Clone Wars movie, and you don't even know who Stinky is. So you're hearing Rada the Hutt, and you're hearing that he's Jabba the Hutt's son, and you're like, oh my god, Jabba the Hutt had a son? But if you've seen it, then it works both ways. But, yeah. The question remains, how did the Gladiator Hutt get a six-pack? Probably a lot of sit-ups. Some ab workouts, you know? Just some ab workouts. You said $1 billion and $2 billion if it's good. That's your prediction. Oh, 100%. And I stand by that. Does it have to make $1 billion to be successful? No, but do I think it's going to make $1 billion? I certainly hope so. And $2 billion if it's good. $2 billion if it's a very rewatchable movie. Yeah. Jabba was working for the rebels and Leia killed him? What? What? Okay. So that was the setup. That's the mission. That's the call to action. And then we got a official clip from the Hutt's lair. Oh, hang on. So this scene actually does explain why the Hutts speak English in the trailer, because they speak both English and Huttese. And what I forgot was they do that in the Book of Boba Fett too. So when we were doing our rewatch of all the Star Wars stuff in preparation for this movie, when we watched the Book of Boba Fett, they do speak both English and Huttese, or basic and Huttese.
Mandalorian, still priceless on the black market.
But what's even more is knowing we have shamed you forever.
We know the Mandalorian Creed. You, the outcast, for letting an enemy see your face.
Not if you all die.
It will bring us ecstasy to watch your strong spirit break.
I mean, come on. I think right then he's going to be sent into the dragon snake pit, but we'll have to wait and see. I get the complaints. A lot of CGI creatures. People are, getting CGI fatigue for some reason. But I mean, they just look so good. A lot of practical effects, of course, as well in this movie with all the puppets and everything. But yeah, you don't want to take his helmet off. He's going to be pretty upsetty spaghetti about that one. Now, what's funny about this is he has to kill them because they've seen his face. Or he could just go back to Mandalore and bathe in the living waters, right? Like, is that not how this works? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. Maybe not. Marvel filmed the post-credit scene for Avengers 1 during the press tour for the movie. Do you think there's a chance they filmed a post-credit scene that they're hiding from the preview audiences? That would be interesting. If they're hiding scenes from the preview audience? That would be crazy. Do I think there'll be a post-credit scene? That's actually a great question. Let me ask you guys, do you think there'll be a post-credit scene to this movie? There has never... Wait. Let me see. What happened to his helmet rule? Well, they just talked about it. They just said we shamed you because you can't take off your helmet, and he said not if you guys die. The helmet rule is still there. Do you guys think we will we will see a post-credit scene in this movie? There hasn't been one in any of the Skywalker Saga movies. Rogue One doesn't have one, and Solo doesn't have one either, right? Yeah. So no, there has never been one. There has never been one. So I would be shocked if there is. I'd be shocked. A setup to Ahsoka Season 2 or to Thrawn would be nice, but they could just do that at the end of the movie. Only Mando Season 2 had one? Well, no, some of the shows have some. I believe Andor has one too with the Death Star. At least Season 1 did. But yeah, Mando Season 2 did too. So maybe they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Lloyd says, what is your take on Ahsoka Season 2 deleting episodes 7, 8, and 9 from the canon? I read theories that the World Between Worlds will be important, and it's one scenario after episode 6. No. I know a lot of people really dislike the sequel trilogy. However, there is still millions upon millions of Star Wars fans that really enjoy the sequels. So many Star Wars fans, a new generation of fans who grew up on the sequels, who love the characters of Rey and Finn and Poe and Kylo Ren and all of them. So no, those will never be decanonized. However, I will say, for people who don't like the sequel trilogy, keep an open mind. Because the way I look at it like this. This book right here has already made the sequels 10 times better for me. It's Luke Skywalker, it's Lando, it's Ochi of Bastoon. It explains the dagger, and the dagger actually makes sense now. It explains so much of Rey's backstory with her parents. It explains Exegol. It explains Palpatine's return. It explains so much. The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch explains Project Necromancer, how Palpatine's been planning this return and cloning stuff for decades before he dies. The Mandalorian, explaining Project Necromancer and that the return of Palpatine has been in the works for decades before he returns in the sequels. Now, the only problem that I have with the sequel trilogy, it's a thick book. It is a thick book. The only problem that I have with the sequel trilogy is that these things, this book, The Bad Batch, The Mandalorian, all these things came out after. So the sequel trilogy when it released, was extremely damaged by that because the Somehow Palpatine Returns line was just Somehow Palpatine Returns. And there was no explanation to it. You could make the same argument about the Clone Wars and about A New Hope when they first were released because there was no prequel trilogy to explain all of that. But either way, I digress. The sequel trilogy has only gotten better. Even the latest Kylo Ren comic explaining the Knights of Ren and all that stuff. So the way I see it is what's missing from the sequel trilogy is what the prequels had. When the prequels came out, so many people hated the prequels. Sounds crazy to say today in 2026. So many people hated the prequels. You look at, actually, we were talking about Rotten Tomatoes scores. 2 of the 3 prequel trilogy movies have lower Rotten Tomatoes scores than The Mandalorian and Grogu. Attack of the Clones and The Phantom Menace. So they were very hated on by critics and a lot of fans. Now, the prequels are pretty beloved by most, but that's because the audience that they were made for grew up. The audience that watched it when they were kids, they now have a voice online. So you're going to see that happen a lot with the sequel trilogy. And you're going to see that happen as more things connect to it. But same thing with the prequel trilogy. The prequel trilogy has so much time that they made a 7-season series called The Clone Wars, and 3 seasons of The Bad Batch, which take place right after it, and a season of Maul Shadowlord now that takes place right after it, all in the prequel era. So the sequel trilogy could very much benefit from Starfighter, a Rey movie, a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show, an animated series that goes for 5 seasons or whatever. There is plenty that can help the sequels. For people who have an open mind and don't really like the sequels but are open to seeing them be fixed or seeing them be helped in a way. There's also another option. We have all these characters that we're talking about today. Ahsoka Tano, Din Djarin, Grogu, all these characters, Ezra Bridger, the Ghost Crew. All these characters who could be and will be alive during the events of the sequel trilogy. However, none of them are seen in the sequel trilogy. So you could have a world where you have the sequels in one portion of the galaxy, and then you have another story with these characters of Grogu and Ahsoka and the Ghost Crew and Din Djarin and Boba Fett. The underworld. The underworld, which we didn't see a single bit of in the sequel trilogy. The Mandalorians, which we didn't see a single bit of in the sequel trilogy. So you could have a world where you have the sequels, and people who like the sequels can watch the sequels and love the sequels. And you can also have another story that goes parallel at the same time. And you can pretty much choose. They're both canon. They both happen. They both happen at the same time. But you can choose. Sort of like Andor and Rebels. Andor and Rebels take place at the exact same time. Most of the story take place at the exact same time. You can like both. You can like one. You can like the other. It doesn't matter. They're different characters. The same goal, the rebellion. And I think that's what's going to happen here with the sequel trilogy. You have the sequels, and then you have whatever Grogu's up to. Whatever the Mandalorians are up to. And that can be a completely different story at the same time. But the sequel trilogy is definitely not going anywhere. We'll put it that way. Having said that, I do have to get on out of here. We went way over 2 hours today. I did not expect that to happen. But hey, the first Star Wars movie in 7 years comes out in 2 days. Or 3 days, depending on when you're seeing it. So that's where we're at. That's where we are at. Craziness. Absolutely insanity. Absolute insanity. But until next time, smash a freaking like in the stream. Keep the conversation going in the Discord. This is a Discord. A link in the description below. Go join that. And yeah. Smash a freaking like of the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell, all that great stuff. Is there going to be a live stream in 2 days? Yes, we are back to our regularly scheduled program. We will have a live stream today, Thursday, and Saturday. And tomorrow. Tomorrow, Star Wars Jedi Chat at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So watch out for that. Until next time, may the Force be with you. Always. Damn it, Chopper. Come on, man. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. No doubt, or doubt it, sorry. Being 10 years since the sequels, and you look back at the ratings from May 4th of 2025, and no sequel movies are on it at all. Well, I'm not saying that the sequels are going to become magically better than the originals for people. I'm just saying that they could get better for a lot of people. Yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. This was a fun one for sure. Oh, wait, let me end this poll. Let me end this poll really quickly. Whoa, interesting. 57% of you guys think that Embo will die in this Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Interesting. Interesting. Sad that Mike refused to read the article I sent here. What? You sent an article? In the Discord? I'm not seeing an article in the Discord. Send it on Thursday. I'll read it. I didn't know you even sent one. You can't send links in the chat just because, you know, obvious reasons. You know, because people would send pretty crazy stuff. But send it in the Discord and I'll read it on Thursday. Absolutely. I appreciate you all for being here. Smash a freaking like in this stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. And yeah. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody.